I never thought owning a peaceful lake cabin could turn into such chaos. But thanks to my HOA, that's exactly what happened. For years, my family and I enjoyed weekends by the water, fishing, barbecuing, and relaxing away from the noise of the city. The lake sat right on the edge of my property, and it was my pride and joy. What I didn't know was that my entitled HOA had its eye on it too. It all started with a letter in my mailbox. The HOA claimed my lake was a shared neighborhood feature and that I owed a fine for improper maintenance. I laughed at first because that lake had been in my family long before the HOA even existed. I even had the deed and old property surveys to prove it. But the HOA didn't care about facts. They cared about control. A week later, they escalated things and threatened me with legal action if I didn't pay the fine. Then one Saturday morning, things went from ridiculous to unbelievable. I was grilling by the lake when flashing lights showed up at the end of my driveway. Two officers stepped out saying they'd received a call from the HOA claiming I was trespassing on community property. Imagine that, me trespassing on my own land. I showed the officers my documents, my deed, and even the map that clearly outlined my property line. The cops took one look, nodded, and told the HOA president, who had come storming down the road with her arms crossed, and that she had no case. But I wasn't done. If the HOA wanted to play games, I'd play smarter. I went to the county records office, pulled the legal boundaries of my land, and made a shocking discovery. Not only did I own the lake, but a good chunk of the neighborhood's so-called common grounds were actually on my property too. The HOA had been operating on land they didn't even own. So I drafted a formal letter and hand-delivered it to the HOA board. It stated very clearly that they were banned from using or managing my land in any capacity. Their walking trails? Closed. Their lake access? Gone. Their little picnic area by the water? Fenced off by me. When they tried to argue, I reminded them that if they pushed any further, I'd sue for all the fines they'd collected over the years from other homeowners for using my property. That shut them up real quick. Word spread fast in the neighborhood. People actually thanked me because the HOA had been nickel and diming everyone for years. Without access to my land, they lost their biggest bragging right, and suddenly, they weren't so powerful anymore. And that's how the HOA went from fining me for enjoying my own lake to being completely banned from the very property they claimed to control. Sometimes the best way to deal with bullies is to know the rules better than they do, and in this case, owning the land meant I held all the cards.